Commencing operation, observation, attention, organic life form listeners. The following podcast will begin shortly, but first, you must know that the following hosts do not exist, and none of the stories they are about to reveal are real. Your planet is safe. No one from outer space is listening to you, especially any handheld devices or lexicon devices. Now, let us continue this transmission.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast where we are currently recapping the events of Transformers IDW 2005 continuity. I'm Onyx Prime with my two co-hosts here.
Hi, I'm Galvatron.
Hi, I'm Kilobyte.
Moving on with our comic book discussion takes us today to IDW Transformers Robots in Disguise Volume 6. And as always, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning everywhere. Spoiler warning horn. Spoiler warning there. Everywhere.
Spoiler for you, your mom.
And we highly recommend you go back, read the comics, then come and listen to the podcast. Now, onwards. Both Computron and myself have read these series already, but this is Kilobyte's first time and we are excited to hear his thoughts. But before we can get to that, before we can dive into it, before we can speculate, Computron, do you mind telling us some facts about the comic?
I suppose. All right. So for the hard number stuff, there are a total of 5 comics for Robots in Disguise Volume 6. Issue 28 was released April 23rd, 2014, while issue 32 came out August 20th that same year. The writer was John Barber, and the artists were Andrew Griffith, Guido Guidi, Brennan Cowhill, and Casey Collar, with colors by Josh Perez and Joanna Lafuente. Okay, so trivia. In issue 28, while most everyone gets new Earth mode bodies beginning with this issue, RC is a particularly notable case, as it means the new body design she received just last month in Dark Cybertron Chapter 10 gets abruptly thrown out.
Good day.
Yeah, I know, right? That was like the best one, too.
Yeah, it was so good.
That body was supposed to be based on her Transformer Generations toy, but wound up bearing no resemblance to it. The new body doesn't look like the toy anymore, and the old one did. And, continues to be colored reddish orange at Hasbro's request, in contrast to her, I guess, was it pink and white on the cover?
Yeah, it's like a red pink.
Issue 29, the final page of Devastator Smashing the Ground, features some familiar faces. You got Kelly, Red White, and Carlos Lopez are fleeing the scene. And Homer Simpson?
Yeah, I went and double checked that one. They are all there. They're all there.
What?
It's
Homer
buck
Simpson.
wild, as I think the human phrase says.
In issue 31, in order to intercept the 5-hour-old light, Cosmos, most logically has faster than light drives or warp capabilities. In order to make it out of the vicinity of Pluto before the light itself got there. Having reached his monitoring position 5 light hours out to remain above a fixed point on the rotating Earth, Cosmos is cruising at 1.3 times the speed of light.
Wow.
He a fast boy.
That's pretty cool.
Imagine being the one that came up with that number and just like, I have to do the math on this.
What a nerd. I bet it was Wheeljack.
Yeah. In the last issue, on the second to last page, Josh Boyfriend is consistently misspelled as Josh Boyfriend. Looks like Thundercracker needs a spell checker in the addition to an agent. This was fixed for the trademark paperback collection.
It was not fixed for the digital version, which we have.
All right, I think that's about all of it for RAD6. So, Mr. Kilobyte, do you mind giving us a short summary? the easy.
Short summary indeed. Okay, I see how it is. So, following a clue left by Alpha Trion, Optimus Prime leads a team of Autobots back to Earth, where an alliance of enemies old and new awaits them. Dun dun dun. And as always, this information has been taken from the wiki.
Thanks, Kilo. Shall we get started?
You're welcome, and we should.
We start off 6 months after the Dark Cybertron event with Thundercracker back on Earth. I believe that's how it says. It's been a while, sorry. Reading and writing his new screenplay, and it's absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to see the movie adaptation, especially Josh Boyfriend, which I hear is as handsome as an F-22 jet fighter. What are your thoughts on this, Kilo?
I loved it. I found it super hilarious because he's tried to adjust to Earth customs, but then he's adding little bit pieces of himself in there, and it just makes for a hilarious interaction and like reading. Because he like when we see this, he's kind of like reading it to himself as he's like, I'm assuming he's like reviewing what's there already. So it's just perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Like, he sounds so proud of himself when he writes it, and then he just walks in and like, God, what was her name again?
Fairborn?
Fairborn. Let's just go Fairborn. And she's just spitting all over his beautiful work, man. Like nothing. Okay, before we do this, I originally thought that they were trying to do a Nurse Jackie reference by like smack talking the TV show Nurse Jackie, because on that page, she's like making fun of it, saying like, this is like that terrible show Nurse Whitley. And like he corrects her, he goes, it's Nurse Whitney. But there's actually a TV show called Nurse Jackie, and I'm sitting there going, are they making fun of this TV show?
Could be a reference too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of references, and we'll see lots more later with Thundercracker, because he really likes the Earth culture. We then flip to Optimus, surprisingly Megatron, and Starscream on Earth, along with a few other Autobots. So my guess this takes place... There's a lot of time jumps, to be fair. This part, where we flip to, takes place 5 months after the events of Dark Cybertron. We'll try to tell you when there's a time jump.
Just before MTME 6, right?
Yeah. It has to be. It has to be for
Right? There's another Megatron.
the whole duplicates. Well, you're not wrong.
Is it in Earth? Or is it on
Earth? Yeah. Yeah, so they right, isn't it Earth?
Because is this the part where they're fighting for Metroplex?
No, that's the
No?
flashback. That's even farther. I'm talking about where Windblade, Megatron, Optimus are on Earth, and then Prowl and Starscream start talking about how, isn't it weird that like they're being a little cozy or something like that, right?
I think that's in Cybertron. I think that's before they leave.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It just looks very Earth-esque.
Oh, is this
it looks
where
kinda like
Prowl is
snow.
talking to Cosmos and smack talking Optimus to Cosmos?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far yet.
All right.
No, I think that's the part we're talking, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Oh, well,
we're
I
good.
thought.
Because that's the only part where we see Megatron in this volume, right?
Right.
So I think it's Cybertron.
I was just
Okay.
talking about like how like
Whoever does the video will tell us if we're wrong or right. Let's
absolutely.
talk about the new Decepticon leader. And Computron, do you mind telling us about this Decepticon leader, specifically their brand new body upgrade and what they have in store for the Decepticons?
No. Old man Galvatron has taken over your favorite character or Armada, I suppose. He's got like his sweeps color now, like he's like a very shiny purple, and like his orange cannon, kind of like the typical Galvatron you would see. Like that was a reference to Gen 1, essentially. And he's got like his little purple crown sitting on his head. Anyway, he's a tank too, so there's that.
I feel like I feel like they're just like, this is just Megatron 2.0. It's just
You know, right?
Well,
It's
except
just-
for he's like this war on generation Megatron, not necessarily war for Cybertron.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. It could also be a reference because in the G1 movie, Megatron is Galvatron, so it could be like both a reference
That's
and
true.
just kind of like for like easier differentiating like who's the leader is just a tank.
I mean, isn't Megatron a tank in some cases?
Yeah. So that's why I think they're just using that as both a reference to G1 and a reference to like the leader of the Decepticons is just a tank. So
Right.
it looks cool. It just
Yeah, I like his new form.
I just don't like Galvatron. You can tell.
the cannon on his back looks a little bit clunky, but other than that, it looks pretty okay.
But there is a twist in this comic. A big twist. A twisty twist. A twisty twist that has a twist that has a twistative twist. Earth has teamed up with the Decepticons to put a stop to the evil forces of the Autobots. Now, Kilo, what was your thoughts when you first ran across this in the comics?
I was like, not again. Because the humans don't learn, do they? It's just every time the Decepticons show up, they're like, "No, the Autobots are the evil ones. We are the good guys. We didn't cause the destruction. It was all part of Megatron's plan. He's the one that did all that. We're different now. We're reformed." And I'm like, "Come on."
What was their argument to convince the humans? Do you remember?
Oh,
Yeah, the Soundwave showed them the holocron of Megatron wearing an Autobot symbol.
oh yes,
Right.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Man,
That would do
that's
it. Silly humans.
That's it. That's apparently the only proof you need right there. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
see, he's a bad guy
Only
now.
Proof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ex-leader just switched his badge, and now they're all bad.
Yeah, never mind. The cassette in my chest was one of the leading bots that completely leveled New York. Just ignore that.
Right. Ignore that one. Ignore that one. Flipping to the Ark, which is orbiting over Earth. It's not landing because humans are trying to shoot it down because it's an Autobot ship. We see Jetfire and a new character named Doc, who he's the sweetest boy, attempting to keep the ship from being completely ruined. Thoughts on the new character and Jetfire? Better yet, the Constructicons on the ship protecting it from the small invaders. What are your
About
thoughts?
time we got a minicon.
He's
We
not
had
quite a
one, and
minicon.
it died in rum.
Oh boy.
I'm still traumatized. Okay.
All right. We'll talk about D&D after this. How's that?
It was interesting I think in that one specific scene, the Constructicons were instructed by Prowl to do something on the ship, and Jetfire didn't know what their job was. And so he was just like sending a message to Prowl. He's like, I know you're not going to respond to this, but you're a jerk.
I love that interaction, and I love Jetfire interacting with Doc because he's kind of like for those who've seen War Star, it's kind of like the D2R2 bot because they just do beep and sounds, but he can understand them, and it's just a funny interaction because he's like, yeah, I understand. And you just see a beep boop beep boop, and they're just kind of arguing back and forth, and it's just hilarious.
Yeah, there's something about like a drone or a robot that you can understand what they're saying, but they only speak in boops and beeps. Like the War Star, like you were saying, the D2R2, or the what's the other one that everyone loves? It's like the
The 8BB.
yeah, that one, the
BB-8?
ball one, the soccer ball.
Is
one.
it BB-8 or is it 8BB?
BB-8.
BB-8.
Moving
Okay,
on.
I guess I
The
got it
fight
wrong.
takes us down on Earth, takes us to a town, and Prowl, who was told to stay behind, decides that was a mistake and jumps into action because winning, as some would say, which devastates everyone because, he combines with the Constructicons to form
You suck.
Devastator. which, I'm just going to call Devastator because that's who it really is. I find it very interesting, the Optimus Prime and Prowl interaction in this comic, because they're both kind of bumping heads. Is that what the humans say? We say bumping bumpers, but that sounds different here on Earth.
No, we don't say that. We definitely don't say that. That's something totally else.
Well, I find it interesting that, like, Prowl, who used to be like Optimus's statistician to help him in battle, is now arguing with him, but ignoring him at the same time. If that makes sense. What are your thoughts?
I like it. There were some ups and downs for me. Kind of like I agreed with Prowl, and then he did something. I'm like, I don't agree, and then I agreed again. So it was kind of like a love and hate relationship there. But I do enjoy the banter between them because now Prowl thinks like Optimus is not really doing a good job, even though they've been at war for 4 billion years or more.
Yeah.
And then now he's kind of like using Optimus as his pawn in his big plan and not telling anybody. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. We'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, and he's kind of playing some 4D chess with Optimus, right? And
Yeah.
Kinda
it's
has
very
to.
subtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the acknowledgement to Shockwave that Prowl does.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of opposites, and they're kind of becoming more and more alike.
Yeah, one of the first arguments on Cybertron was Prowl's like, "This is against logic." I'm like, "Hey, that's not your line."
Interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. And the comics do pretty well, I think, the similarities between Prowl and Shockwave, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Before we finish that, we get a flashback far into the past, 10 million years, during the very first Cybertronian Civil War, which shows Galvatron going on a murder rampage, killing headmasters, the followers of Nexus Prime, and we discover he becomes buddy-buddy with Alpha Trion. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually kind of drew some similarities because, like, you see how Galvatron's on like this complete rampage and being this proficient killer, even though he boasts. But ignoring that, I was looking at him and then I was looking at RC and just seeing how much those two were kind of had like that commonality of being complete murderers and just thinking about the commonalities.
Yeah, it kind of all goes full circle, I guess, because you become what you hate, right?
Yeah.
But I do like the new perspective of kind of because in the beginning they were the ones that hated the system where like if you were born this way, you have to do this, right? You're assigned this, and then they eventually created a system where they kind of like hate. I think it was like they hated the ones that were upgraded, like Galvatron. He says that it's not kind of like an abomination science when the headmaster combines with the other body. So it's like a different type of hate. And I think there was a third one I can't remember right now. But I do like how they're kind of like giving different perspectives on how they felt over like advancements in the race and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a different Cybertronian thought process than we're used to, right?
Yeah.
Where
Right.
like in modern day we see Megatron who is where he only likes the Transformer race, the Cybertronian race, right?
Yeah.
And then here we see like the internal struggle, right? Where they're like not necessarily racist, but they're little racist.
It's the only way. It's the only way you can
Right.
say it, because he is judging other bots for
Right.
I don't know how the headmasters come to be in these comics, but either they were created that way or they were born that way. But he just doesn't approve of that process, and I
Sounds
find it.
such like an old man.
Yeah, yeah, I do find it funny because he kind of hates the headmaster here, but then he didn't mention anything about I forgot his name. It's the one J-Hax has made. It's not Abomination. It's not Big Puppy.
Monstructor.
Monstructor.
Yeah.
So and he saw Monstructor being formed, and he didn't have a comment back then.
Right. So feel like we've touched all the bases on the past. Let's flip to present day in the comics. We get to see Devastator versus Galvatron, and it packs a punch. Okay, sorry, I'll stop with the jokes for the next 5 seconds. What are our thoughts on this battle?
I like it. I think it was fun, especially since Autobots don't really have never had such a huge bot be on their side for once. So
I
thought
mean,
it was
they
interesting.
Metroplex.
They had Metroplex and Superion, but they never had like one recently, I guess, because Metroplex was gone for a while. Superion's still relatively new,
Yeah.
but it's
Well,
like interesting to have one out on a recon mission, right?
it's not necessarily because they've had Metroplex, but then Metroplex was sent away, and then they've had Omega Supreme, but then Omega Supreme kind of becomes their base. So it's kind of like Devastator as a whole is more easier to have around at all times because it's multiple bots together instead of one giant bot that you always have to keep hidden. And we saw that in All Hail Megatron, where like Devastator was just going like doing a rampage down in New York, and they only managed to fight him off because they managed to find Omega Supreme and Cybertron. If not, I don't think anybody could have stopped him.
Yeah, he can be quite devastating.
I do like how he just chucks Galvatron to the ground like Hulk did in the first Avengers to
Yeah.
Loki.
Oh yeah, those marbled films.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So the humans, however, have developed a technology that can stun Decepticons. Interesting. Sneaky humans. And just as they are stunning Decepticons, they teleport out of town just as Devastator was about to paint the town in Energon. The one thing I want to point out here, if it affects Decepticons, I'm just curious how it didn't affect Devastator, because he's like 5'6" Decepticons, is he not?
Well, you have Prowl in there. I think Prowl managed to suppress some of it because we do see him with a like bloodied Energon nose. So I'm assuming it affected him, but he managed to overcome because he doesn't have the Decepticon signature they were looking for.
Hmm.
I mean, I kind of agree. I kind of feel like they should have had the Decepticon signature for at least for them to like break apart and then Prowl not be affected. But like, I don't know.
I thought that's what was going to happen, that they were going to break apart, but they didn't. I'm like, huh, okay.
Plot armor, okay.
Convenience.
While we ponder on this topic, let's take a quick ad break.
Let's play Guess That Con.
1, 2,
three.
3. Shot!
Gah! Oh, that's strong.
Nah, that's nothing. You should have seen me back in the day. I could have drank out the whole bar.
Hey, Heximus. Haven't seen you at the bar for a while.
Hey guys, what are you guys doing?
Oh, Onyx was just saying he could outdrink a whole bar. You want to try a shot of Energon?
Sure. Oh, ugh, why did I even try that? I'm not a robot. Ugh, the battery acid taste in my mouth. Oh, hey, you guys should try this.
What's that?
It's nightmare fuel, strongest stuff in the afterlife and existence.
I'll see about that. Pour me a glass. God, that's what I thought.
Oh, my Primus, you killed him!
Lightweight.
Calm down, Kilo. He's just unconscious and got knocked off his high turbo horse.
Purchasing nightmare fuel, you agree to the following and will not sue if you have compulsive mad ravings, hallucinations, screaming. If you see someone else in your reflection or in your dreams, please avoid sleeping. Do not consume more than 13 ounces over the course of 6 days.
It's Megatron!
And welcome back. Back in Autobot base on the Ark, for now, there appears to be a traitor among the crewmates. A little green traitor that goes by the name of Scavenger. Kilo, what are your thoughts on this? Thoughts, theories? Give us everything that you were thinking.
I was like, no, it was all going so good. You were all kind of changed sides. You were following Prowl. I'm like, don't ruin it now.
Who do you think they were talking to?
I assumed they were going to talk to somebody on the Decepticon side. Because, having the Decepticon establish an alliance with the humans and, being able to spy on the Autobot side now that you're with them, it was just going to be too kind of like perfect to not take advantage of, right? So
Yeah, Computron, I know you've read this one a couple times, but I would like to know what your thoughts are.
A little scrap deserves to get his tailpipe fragged inside out.
Oh my goodness. All right. What an intriguing thought. So let's move along. We see some more Optimus and Prowl tension going on who the real leader of the crew is. We already touched upon that. But Galvatron confronts the human that created the mind bomb. The mind bomb is what they're calling the thing that stunned just the Decepticons. And I find the whole interaction entertaining. Like, he's telling him that if he does it again, Galvatron to the human, he will kill him. And then asks where he's from. And the person says, New Mexico. Galvatron says, for good measure, I'll destroy New Mexico and the old one as well. It's just the whole thing was hilarious. Just funny. And he gets confused a little bit. He's like, what about my son? At some point, and Galvatron's like, well, I'll extinguish that or something like along the lines. Like, he thinks it's the literal son, not like the offspring of human son. Yeah, it was great.
It was such a good interaction.
Galvatron, him and his war with literally everything that he sees and not understanding what he's going to war with.
I do like how they kept to Galvatron's personality and knowledge in this comic, because he's never been. He's been to Earth, but it's never really interacted with humans. Because I did see Galvatron with the Infection or the Infestation comics, but he's never really interacted with the army personnel and the military like we saw in All Hell Megatron. And so I really enjoy like him not really understanding the language and all the things that they're saying, which is kind of like perfect because you get to enjoy more of the character and kind of like experience it more.
Yeah, and it's very reminiscent. I'm gonna keep making this analogy of like older generations don't keep up with terms
Yeah,
or want to learn new things.
we're gonna get canceled, sir.
We're gonna get canceled. So another battle happens on the humans' secret base with Autobots and Decepticons, all while Jazz is enacting the real plan to find Alpha Trion's signal that appears to be originating in this place. And does he find it?
He does find Alpha Trion.
Yeah, but there's a catch.
Yeah, Prowl is there.
And he's holding him at gunpoint. Dun dun dun. What were your thoughts? Because I know that this is one of those issues where it ends right there, and then the next one picks up in the next spot. But what was your thoughts when you got to this point? Because I know the first time I read this, I'm like, oh, Prowl, what have you gotten yourself into?
It's kind of exactly what I like. I was like, again, high and lows with me with Prowl in this one. It was just like, yes, you're doing good, and then suddenly he pulls the gun out, adjusts, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? Stop it!
Yes, no.
Yes, exactly.
Do you remember those memes where it's like, what are you doing? Stop. I was thinking like when I first read it, like that was like the first thing in my mind was like, Prowl, what are you doing? Prowl, stop.
Yeah. As the comic goes on, we get a little, I can't remember if it was a monologue or he's trying to tell someone or it's in his head that the entire operation was Prowl's plan the entire time because he was playing 4D chess and he made Optimus think it was his own plan. A lot of distrust is going on, and Prowl uses this opportunity to form Prowlistator while on the secret base once more to tip the battle in his favor. And I'm going to use that specifically, his favor, because this is his battle that he is wanting to happen. What is your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Prowl is a love and hate relationship right now. He did some cool stuff, and then he did some not so cool stuff that I'm like, you're gonna get yourself kicked from all the factions, and nobody's gonna want you.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. What holds for him.
I mean, I kind of got that vibe that Prowl kind of viewed everybody expendable right after I started reading the records, right? And it's just like, wow, he's kind of just shoved that ideology to everybody now. Everybody's expendable,
Yeah.
not just directors.
Yeah.
Now it's 100% Prowl.
Yeah. Prowl's like, I will win no matter the cost kind of character. And it's starting to show, right?
Right.
Yep.
There's a lot of great fight scenes. As the dust settles, Galvatron kills General Wigwiggy, which is Spike's father. And I enjoy him mixing up the spelling of son and son. I know I touched on this earlier, but I now found my notes. And I like the general say, tell my son, and he gets blown to, there's nothing left of him.
Disintegrated.
Yeah. Then Galvatron says, like, I hope your sun shines on whatever after spark awaits you. And it's just like, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. He doesn't know what the spelling sun means. And he tells everyone, the humans, because they didn't see him kill, that Prowl was responsible for his death, which is interesting. It's going to set up so much more chaos later on down the road.
Oh yeah. You mean we're not gonna have a good fun time with humans?
Well, Computron, speaking of which, the best part of this ending is the next bit of notes. If someone wants to lead the way into that one.
You can do it.
Lead the way.
Boy, howdy, do we just love humans here on Swerve's Wire podcast. But you see, we just discovered on the end of the comic that Thundercracker has discovered a clone army. And boy, howdy, is it a clone army of thrust and ramjets?
Not again.
The
Yeah.
machinations are back. Dun dun dun.
Are they gonna be headmasters as well?
Spoilers, Kilo.
We'll never know.
Spoilers.
Oh, hopefully not. Oh, no.
Spoilers. Yeah, so that's the end of that. Is there any other notes you guys want to cover? Any other things you want to talk about?
I have two things I want to cover. I want to cover Soundwave because this volume he kind of was like changing and trying to be peaceful with the humans and try to like help him to achieve his goal and find their new home. But I do like that he's like, we're gonna stick to the real Decepticon cause because Megatron just went all crazy and just tried to destroy everything. He just like went off the rails from the true cause. And I really like that. I really enjoyed that. And then I really like Prowl's new Jeep or Humvee out mode. I thought that was pretty cool.
I do have to say, to kind of bounce off of Kilobyte, I found it like, so don't get me wrong, I absolutely love Soundwave, right? But you're kind of fishy about what his intentions were, right? And like the humans asked him, like, well, what is it that you want? And the first thing he says is peace. And like deep to your core, you're like, liar.
You're a liar.
I don't know. I think I'm hoping it's true because in the beginning when we see his origin and everything, he did join Megatron because he wanted to make a change and change the whole mechanics in Cybertron. So I'm hoping after Dark Cybertron, he kind of went back to the original idea. He's trying to actually do that.
Yeah. Which brings us to Rodstar rating. Who would like to go first?
I don't think I've gone first in a while.
All right, then go first.
I like it. I get frustrated with Prowl, and it's obviously for me it's a good start. Going back to RID, so I'm gonna give it a 4.
I can agree on that. I think it's a good return to RAD, and it brought a bunch of new questions, and we're looking for the answers. I like all the interactions between the different characters, so I'm excited. I'm excited to what happens with Robots in Disguise. So I'll also give it a 4.
I think in the first time in a while, not the first time, I take that back. It's been a while since we've all agreed, but I'm also giving this a 4.
Yes,
It's a good time. Yeah. little wow for everyone. Little pat
We
on
did
the
it.
back.
Pat
We
on
did
the
it.
back.
Good job, everyone. So let's go to emails, and we do have an email. But if you would like to get in contact with us and send us more emails, and we can read them here on the podcast, and we can discuss them and say thank you, you can reach us at swervesbarpodcast@gmail.com. That is swervesbarpodcast@gmail.com. If you need help, there is something on the screen, or it's in the details below. But our first email, I don't know if this is your real name, so I'm going to blur that part out. But they say, hey, so I started listening to this podcast and I am absolutely loving it. I was wondering if you got the different classes and races from somewhere or if you came up with them yourselves. I'm thinking they're referencing the D&D, but would you guys like to discuss that? I know a lot of this is homebrewed, and we take a lot of inspiration from the IDW comics, which some reference to D&D 5e, I think it is, right, Kilo?
Yes, we kind of try to use a system we've already used before, but we try to incorporate as many references to the Transformers universe as we can. So we try to use unique aspects of abilities and unique characters, kind of like the Titan Masters and the Headmasters, and that's why we wanted to incorporate as many possible reference.
Yeah, and it's been a thing that's been a work in progress for at least the last 3 or 4 years. So it's an ever changing, moving forward to make things as balanced as possible and fun.
Yeah.
And you can actually thank Onyx for that one. He's the one that he's the mastermind behind majority of it. He's
But I can't do any changes without you guys. Who's going to be my victims? I mean, test subjects.
Break the system.
And if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have Zephyr. But I'll be honest with you, he's probably going to nerf Zephyr.
Oh, it's been nerfed.
It's already been
already.
It's been nerfed already.
And then we have a second, it's not an email, we have a comment on Instagram by HighBeamTF. These have been fun to listen to. And this is directly on our last video on More Than Meets the Eye Vol6. Right on. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate it. So, moving to our next subject, ending thoughts. We've recently have returned from Earth, and we went to a TFCon, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go first?
I can go first. I had a lot of fun. It was my first time visiting Earth, and I met a lot of humans out there. And of course, I wasn't a giant robot. I used my hollow matter, but I had fun. I visited so many new places, and I want to visit Earth again.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. Turns out, hanging out with a lot of the Earthlings, you can kind of, meet some really cool people that are, just as, inspired. I don't want to say inspired, but love like the same universe that.
Some passion?
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They're compassionate about the same thing you are, and it's honestly very, very relaxing. And it was actually fun supporting Onyx, especially in the contest he won. I think I'm going to segue that to you, buddy.
Peer pressure. So yeah, I custom my hollow human matter to have a cosplay. I don't know if that's the phrase, but yeah, I wanted to look like Grimlock. And that was fun, and was not expecting to get first place because there was a lot of other really good cosplays. I met a group called the Arizona Autobots. Those people were awesome. I met there's some cool like human formers. Like the Windblade one was awesome. There was a Junkion that was pretty cool. There was Galvatron. There's just so many.
There was a wheelie too.
There was a wheelie, yeah. There was a lot of cosplays, and all of them were absolutely fantastic. Bravo. You guys, if you're listening to this, you are awesome. Any other thoughts?
I don't like Los Angeles traffic, though.
Yeah, the traffic was a little intense.
It was hard to get around.
Yeah. We almost got a bumper, but that's okay. That's okay.
Our hollow matters, that is.
Well, when you're in vehicle mode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm talking for everybody, but I am excited for next year, and I'm excited for other cons that we can travel to.
Me too. I'm super excited. Should we talk about at least one toy maybe we got from the con? My two co-hosts here, the bestest of co-hosts, my favorite co-host, got me a Planet X Caucus, which is a IDW third-party Grimlock, and has been sitting on my desk for the last 2 weeks, front row, so I can see it in all its glory. And thank you so much for getting me these. This is amazing.
But wait, there's more.
I'm happy you got it.
Oh, wait, there's more. Go on.
Your trophy.
Oh, yes. Okay. Another toy that I got is a Beast Wars Megatron. And it just so happened that David K was at this convention. So obviously I had to go get it signed, which is what I did.
Yes.
Yes. I just need a rubber ducky to go with it.
I'm sure we can find some. I think Swindle might have a bunch.
Oh, absolutely. They might be weaponized, but I don't care.
I guess it's my turn. For me, who was it? I don't remember who it was, but one of these great co-hosts again got me a Iron Factory. No, I think I got it myself. It was an Iron Factory Cyclonus, and it looks exactly like the Cyclonus from the IDW MTME, and I love it because I also have a MTME looking tailgate, and right now they're both sitting next to each other, just like my G1 Cyclonus is sitting next to my I guess you can call it G1 tailgate. So now I got two parallel universes of Cyclonus and tailgates sitting next to each other.
Yeah, it's great. I don't think anyone bought that for you. I was just like roaming around and I sent you an image of it thinking like, maybe he'll want it,
That's
maybe
right.
he won't. And then like
I
2 seconds
ran-
later, you're right next to me. I'm like, where did you come from?
ran from the entire opposite side of the building to buy that. I was hoofing it.
I found mine, and it's the Fan Hobbies Arson, which is Pyro from the Wreckers.
I see what
really
they did there. Arson.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then one of our guests called Clickbait got me a Tigatron in a Wreckar.
Right on.
They find it out there, so thank you.
Clickbait also got me a Ravage.
Yeah.
Sweet boy. A good kitty. All right, I think we should move on. Are you two ready for Transformers Windblade?
Yeah,
I am ready.
I'm
it'll be a
excited.
short one, that's for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
real ready.
If you've enjoyed this episode, consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing. We hope you are all staying safe out there and having fun and having a blast. Thank you so much for listening. You all are awesome. Till all are one.
Till all are one.
To all are one.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Swerve's Bar Podcast. You can also find us on Twitter at Swerve's Bar. If you are interested in more content, try checking out the spin-off D&D Transform and Rollout Rise of the World Killers. Let's tune in for a preview now.
I think he's having fun. Just let him have his fun. And if he comes back as a head, well, just let me know, and then I'll go find his body.
Okay, Peter Griffin.
I was gonna say, what the hell?
Let's see.
Why does it sound like you're so far away?
It's a really menacing.
As bullets fly, riddling Zephyr.
It's about time something put you in your place.
Zephyr, buddy.
So I'm dead.
Wait, are you?
Yeah.
What?
Died? Yes!
All right, we'll just say you're hitting the ship.
Yay!
You're blasting it real
Yay!
good. It's doing no damage, but it's
Excuse
blasting it real
you.
good. Pew,
Pew 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 pew. Makes me feel better.
Exhilarating. There is also a YouTube channel with bonus content. Link will be provided below. End transmission.